Plaintiff Michael Bonacani is a Vietnam vet who still suffers from PTSD to this day. Michael claims the defendant was married to his daughter, but he abandoned her, and Michael's suing him today for a towing bill. Defendant Oscar Reyes Maciel says he was married to Michael's daughter for 6 years, but they had issues due to her drug addiction. Oscar denies owing Michael for anything.
Start with you.
I'm a Vietnam veteran, United States Marine Corps, and I'm a disabled American veteran, 100% PTSD. So being here today...
How long were you in the war?
Actually, I was out in 2 years and 3 months, early out. Our mission was to gather intel in North Vietnam behind enemy lines. When we got back, I and others were treated badly. And
in the country?
Yeah, when we got back home, my hometown, we were treated badly. And an example of that is that my first party, when I came back, celebration, somebody called me a baby killer. No, I just was back from combat. So I blacked out. Next thing I know, they're pulling me off of him. The police come, and that's the start of a whole series of things that happened throughout my life. But the police asked me a couple of questions. I told them that I just came back from combat. They immediately understood. They said, "You know, sir, you go home. We'll take care of this party." And I think it's because they're under fire every day. So I think they related to me back in.
How did the government treat you with services?
Well, for 40 years, I didn't know I had anything like PTSD. I had all kinds of problems, but didn't know it was...
Even through that time, did you...
I didn't access services. I didn't go to the VA for any reason.
Did you know they were available?
I didn't think about it one way or the other. I was
Did
back.
they reach out to you and tell you?
Well, what happened was at age 65, my PTSD affects all of us veterans because we're older. So I would get up in the morning and vomit, then go to work. But when you're younger, you can still do that, or you can go a couple of days without sleep. You can still do that. When I hit about 65, I couldn't do it anymore. And so I ended up seeing a doctor who sent me to the VA, who then tested me and said physically I was fine, but I needed to see a psychiatrist at the VA. And then I've been in treatment for 8 years since then. I'm 73 now.
Defendant Oscar Reyes Maciel was legally married to the plaintiff's daughter, but he claims he left her due to her drug addiction.
The reason I asked that, because the current, the veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan war have been mistreated by the government. Most of us welcome and are grateful for their fight. You don't have the contested political scene that you had in the 60s with the anti-war and the war and the civil rights. Everybody's in support. All voters or citizens are in support of what is happening with our soldiers, and when they come back, we all welcome them. Everybody but the government, which mistreats them. That's why they've had all type of congressional investigations. We know what is happening at the VA hospitals around the country. Returning soldiers haven't gotten the type of support they need financially, jobs, and treatment in many ways. So that's why I was asking about how the government, the people you were really fighting, the people who send you over there.
Right.
I want to know how they treat you when they bring you back. That's my point I'm making. But we certainly honor your sacrifice, and that was a tremendous sacrifice. Tremendous sacrifice.
I can only speak for Vietnam vets because I haven't really talked much to the others, but I have talked to a lot of Vietnam vets. And I can really say that the Veterans Administration, at least in Stockton, California and Palo Alto, have pulled me through this, because when I was 65, I was in big trouble. And I've been in treatment for 8 years, and they have really helped me a tremendous amount. And I would say to any Vietnam veteran, I can't speak for any others, because of our particular problem, that you need to call the VA, you need to get to them. You got to go, and it's humiliating. For me, it was humiliating to reach out to them, and you got to do it. Just say you need help, And once that happens, your family will be better for it. Your friends will be better for it. And at 65, it's what we are now, 65, 70 years old. You need help now, for sure. And that's what happens to us.
Good.
Now, Iraq and them, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So.
Let me hear from you, sir. You give me some background.
Well, I know Mr. Bonacani. I married his daughter back in 2008. We were together for 6 years. About that time, it was a little bit of a struggle, you know, but
Why?
we pulled through.
Financially?
Financially, just dealing with the problems that she had and trying to work with her and her family.
She had issues related to what?
Kind of like drug abuse and stuff.
Okay,
So,
got it.
I've had some of those in the past too. But
Okay.
I've been clean since 2006.
You've gotten along with the family
Oh yeah,
outside?
tremendously. Yeah.
Do you
Mr.
have children
Bonacani,
together?
No, she had 2 kids, so those step-kids to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your take on the marriage?
I actually initially felt that Oscar was the defendant, or Oscar was good to her. I felt that he related to the children, which made me very happy because they weren't his children, and he took to them. He disciplined as if they were his children with kindness. He was always attentive to them, particularly, and so much so that when he needed money to purchase a car, I loaned him money for that.
Okay.
And that's where the confusion starts. I loaned
Okay.
him the
Tell
money,
me what happened.
and eventually, by the way, he paid me back that money. So he was good in that respect. All
Okay.
of that was in place. However, he did, in January of 2016, he did disappear. So, and she was in effect abandoned. She was there and with no resources. Along with her, he also abandoned the vehicle in the driveway of their apartment. She had to leave because they were evicting her. She pulled the car out of the driveway and parked it on a street because they required that. The defendant didn't come and get the car, and
Whose car was it? It was
that would have been the defendant's car.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And 2 months later, it was towed. I get a bill and a collection notice from the towing company, and I sent a letter back to them saying, this is not my automobile. I didn't buy it. I never drove it. I never possessed it. I never registered it. But then they sent me back a certificate of registration that apparently was found in the vehicle. So I went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and I went to the cubicle, and I said, you know, I've got this bill, and it says it's my car. Could you please run my registration, or whatever registration you have there, and tell me what it says? The lady responded by saying, my name's not on it. So I just figured they'd sort this out. I just figured they're going to take care of this. I'm not going to do anything about it.
Defendant Oscar Reyes Maciel was legally married to the plaintiff's daughter, but he claims he left her due to her drug addiction.
Tell me what happened.
Then what happened is I get a court order to appear. And so I appear, and they ordered the judgment for the plaintiff. And the judge told me at the time, he said, Mr. Bonacani, even though I explained to him, I showed him the reports from the DMV, it doesn't have my name, I'm not registered. He said, Mr. Bonacani, this is a court of equity or fairness. This is not a court of law right now. He said, so in all fairness to the towing company, what they found in that vehicle was this certificate. So they acted on that. And they want to get paid. So I have to give them the judgment. He just told me that. He also told me that I should, and because he also heard the other part of it, he told me that I should sue Oscar under the circumstances. He said, you need to go after the person that really had the car. I said, okay. So that's why I'm here today.
Were they married at the time?
Yes.
Did they purchase the car?
Yes.
All right, so that was marital property.
Yes.
The car was joint, and he has the right to sue either both of you or either of you, and he has chosen just to sue you. What's your defense to the towing bill that he was made to pay for a car you owned?
I owned the car. I paid him back when I left my ex-wife.
You want to say anything about that? He made you sound real bad. You abandoned her. He abandoned the car.
Well, there was a little more to it. You know, I don't want to make it that.
You didn't leave it out saying bye?
Huh? I did say bye.
Okay, well, you didn't abandon her.
So I left. I was trying to work with her with her problems, and just wasn't working out. I got going back and forth, trying to keep the house afloat and everything. You know, it's a little hard. But anyway, so about the car, when she left it in front of his house, you know, nobody told me it was there. You know, of course, they don't have to tell me that it's there either. But
it's your car. You should know where your car is.
Yeah, well, if I left it in her possession, so she would have a car too. Because I also had I only took one of the cars. I had a Ford Focus and the Mercedes, so they were able to get it to his property. All they were taking was a phone call to me to pick it up, or call me when it gets impounded. Again, he didn't feel a need because he wasn't registered under his name.
Right.
But
you don't feel the need to tell people what to do with their property. That's your property. You should have felt the need to find your property and find out what happened. That's your responsibility. Judgment for the plaintiff. He has no legal defense. Have a good day.